Hey everybody, welcome back to Life with Willow. It is Monday and it's time for another recap of 911. This is season 3, episode 15, and it was titled Eddie Begins. So this episode was pretty much surrounding Eddie's life. So when it opened up, it was in El Paso, Texas, 2011, and it was the birth of Christopher. So everybody was there. Eddie's parents and his wife's mom came or whatever. And, it was all, everybody was excited and so forth. And then we found out Eddie had to go back to Afghanistan in a week or whatever. So they were kind of worried about that. Then we get to the present time, and Eddie is in a hole, and we see him on a radio saying, he's still alive down here. I'm still alive down here. I'm still alive down there. And then we jump maybe a few hours before he was in the hole, and it was the gang. They were testing out the radios. So everybody's testing out the radios, just kind of talking on the radios to each other and so forth, making sure that the radios actually work. Then we see Christopher. He comes in there with Carla, and he dragged me down here because he has a show and tell assignment on Friday. And Eddie was like, well, I thought you was going to, take your hamster in. So she was like, no, he don't want to take that hamster in no more. He got a different idea. He found Eddie's medal that he got while he was in the military. So he wants Eddie to, bring the medal in and then tell them the story on why he achieved it. So they were like, well, you sure? And Buck was like, is that a story you could tell fourth graders? He was like, I don't know. But, Christopher pretty much convinces him to do the show and tell and so forth. So then they get a call. So then he like, all right, I'll think about it, man. I'll think about it. So then they go to the call. The call is they get to this house. It's like all this farmland and stuff like that. They get to this house. It was two little boys. Althena tells Kat what was going on. It was two little boys who were playing out in the field or whatever. And one came back home. The other one, they thought got kidnapped and stuff. And then Althena started looking around and saw this old photo, and then it was a well on the land. So then they think okay, he must have fell in the well, but they don't really know exactly where the well is. Eddie starts looking around and stuff, and he sees the little toy. So he something must be over here. But the hole was covered up. So I was like, well, did the brother cover the hole up? How did the little boy fall in the goddamn well? Did the brother push him in there? They never did say. But Eddie goes up. He was like, come on, gang. I hear something or something like that. So they start pulling all the debris back and stuff. And then they see this little hole. They put the cable down there with the camera to see, if the little boy was down there. They got down, 45 feet? And then they saw the little boy head. He was child, that hole was this big. And he was just squished in the hole or whatever. So, they trying to figure out how the hell we gonna get this little boy out. Somebody came in. They wanted to get an oil drill. They had before they got the oil drill, they had maps and stuff, and they was trying to figure out how they gonna get down in the hole. And they was like, we can't get down there this way. If they push him down, he'll go into this big pool of water, a lake, I guess, and then he'll drown. Then they can't pull him up. They might injure him. So Kat was like, they can dig a hole and then go parallel to them. And so that's when they got the oil drill, and so they started drilling the hole and stuff. Then the news stations come. Of course they come. They start getting all in the way type thing, but not really. They was just pretty much they was pretty good for most shows and stuff like that. The newscasters, they be all in the way and stuff like that. So I shouldn't even say that. They was pretty good. They was just telling about the storm, because it was a storm coming. I said, oh Lord, of course it's a goddamn storm. So it was this a big ass storm that was supposed to go off on the coast, but of course it wanted to hang around while they trying to get this little boy out. And the rainwater gonna go into the well. So it was a mess. And then it was lightning, and it was a storm. So it was lightning and stuff, and they can't use the drill with lightning and whatnot. So they had to pretty much move fast. What happened? So then we see the mama. She's talking to the little boy because they gave her a radio. And I guess they put down a radio because she was talking to the son, and she was just like, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. I know you're scared, but we're going to get you out and so forth. And then Eddie got on the radio and was like, we're going to get you out. We're going to bring you back home to your mama and all this other stuff. So they did that. they were talking about how long it was going to take them to get down in there. And because the man who would run the drill and stuff like that, he was like, look, we can't do this much longer. The lightning is fitting to come. Somebody gonna get struck. We gonna have to pull back. They was like, no, let's give us some more time. Come on. And Kat was like, look, the lightning ain't even near here. It's far away. So we got about an hour or something. And then Buck like, no, it's gonna take more than an hour. That's gonna take about 3 hours. Hen like, well, he been down there for 10 hours. He can't take it no more. I was just like, oh my God, is y'all gonna get this little boy out? But they convinced the man that they can keep drilling until the lightning comes for them or whatever, or not come for them. The lightning gets close enough to the rig or whatever. So then Eddie volunteers his ass to go down in the hole. I said, Eddie, you got Christopher. Why is you going to volunteer to go down the hole? So then after he volunteers to go down the hole to get Aiden, that was the little boy name, because he claimed like, oh, well, I was talking to Aiden on the phone, so he know my voice or whatever, so he gonna be expecting me to come down there. I was like, Aiden don't know nobody, Chaba, but Eddie want to be the hero because that's his nature, so he want to go down there and say the little boy. Then we flash to 2015. I think it was El Paso, 2015. Eddie and the wife arguing because Eddie then re-enlisted a second time. He like, well, we got all these bills to pay. You got this to do. We need to do this or whatever. I'm doing this for the family. I'm doing this for Christopher. She like, look, he needs you here. He needs you right here. He don't need you over there in war and all that other stuff. He needs you right here. And he like, well, the bills, his medical bills, all these other bills piling up. We need this. She like, well, we can sell this and do that. And then I can go back to work. And he just not having it and stuff. And apparently when he went to Afghanistan during the birth, he had re-enlisted and he didn't tell her. So then this is the second time he re-enlisted and he didn't tell her. So she is just not feeling Eddie at this point. So they arguing and stuff like that. Baby Christopher start crying. He go in the room. He start rocking baby Christopher. He's struggling. He can't get him to stop crying because he ain't been there. So baby Christopher don't know him or whatever. Then we flash back to the present. So then Cap, he giving Eddie the rules on, when you go down there, you got 30 minutes to be down there. The oxygen, if it gets to yellow, you got 2 minutes. And if it gets to red, did he say if it gets to red, you got 2 minutes? Something like that. But he was like, by the time it gets to red, you better be up here or whatever. Eddie was like, all right, no problem. He get down there. He get all strapped up and stuff like that. They pulled up the drill at this point because I think did it get hit by lightning? At this point, no, I don't think it got hit by lightning at this point. I think they just pulled it up from, whatever. And that's when Eddie was going down there. So Eddie, he started getting down there, whatever. He get in the hole. His radio out of range because they underground and stuff like that. So he talking to them. He don't know that his radio is out of range. They know up there that the radio out of range, but he doesn't know. So he keeps telling them, he like, I don't know if y'all can hear me or whatever, but I'm about to punch through because he was going to punch through the pipe and then grab Aiden. So they lost, then up top, they done lost signal, because remember they had the camera down there. They done lost signal to the camera. So they don't know what is going on down there. He get down there, he busts through the pipe. He gets to Aiden and stuff like that. And he like, oh, Aiden, you okay? You okay? He was like, yeah, I'm just cold. He was like, all right, we're going to get you out. He starts talking into the radio. And he like, the water is rising. I'm going to need more time than 30 minutes. And yada, yada, yada. So he telling them, but they can't hear him because the radio out. Up top, Cap is like, okay, he is 2 minutes or whatever. Buck like, well, maybe he need more time because, maybe he's stuck. Maybe, the water rising and stuff like that. And Cap like, well, he don't got more time. He got 2 minutes. And then Hannah was like, well, he can't be down there too much longer. He already been down there too long. He's going to get hypothermia and stuff like that. So I think it was like, the time was up. Basically, the time was up. So, what's his name? Eddie was grabbing onto Aiden. He was like, all right, I got you. Come on with me or whatever. Soon as he was like about to pull him out the hole, they pulled the cord up. So he had to let go of Aiden. Then he go flying up the damn hole. He was like, no, 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 no. He cuts the dang on rope, falls back down the hole. So now they pull up the dang on rope. They like, oh my God, he cut the rope. He cut the rope. Why would he cut the rope? Or whatever. So they trying to figure that shit out. Then we are back in the past. So I think it is still 2015. He in Afghanistan. He gearing up to go on a helicopter. But he's talking to the wife, and then Christopher's, on a little tablet and stuff like that. But it's bad reception. She's telling him like her mom has cancer and she has to go back. And he was like, well, I thought she already beat that. And she was like, no, it's a different type of cancer. I need to be there. And he was like, well, we'll figure it out. But she can't really hear it because it was bad reception. So he's he's in the helicopter. So he just had to end the call, whatever, because it was just like bad reception. Then what happened, child? Oh, I missed the part. When the camera came back on, but the camera was underwater. So when Eddie had cut the rope, the camera had popped back on, and then they saw it was underwater. So they thinking that everybody underwater, but they don't know or whatever. So then we back to the past and the bad reception, all other stuff. The helicopter, some enemies take the helicopter. No, yeah, it was incoming. So like a missile or something, or not a torpedo. Jesus, what? A rocket launch. You know what I'm talking about. So it's the helicopter. The helicopter went down. Child, when the helicopter went down, he was saving lives on a helicopter. So people had got shot and stuff. And of course, he's a medic and all the other stuff. So he was talking to somebody and he was like, oh, he had these bullets and he had to get back home to his 3 kids. Like the man Eddie was helping and stuff. And then something came, took the helicopter down. So I think it was maybe like 5 or 6 people on the helicopter. Eddie gets, what happened? Oh, so then it was crashed. It crashed, child. Yeah, so then it crashed or whatever. I'm trying to remember, because I didn't write down everything. So the helicopter crashed. The enemy comes shooting up the helicopter because, of course, they wanted to make sure everybody did. Eddie, he wasn't the only one alive, but he was the only one that kind of woke up and was able to get everybody off the helicopter pretty much. And then there was one dead person. I think it was the guy who was shot with the 3 kids. But he was like, I gotta go back and get him. They was calling for help talking about 6 minutes. He like, we ain't got 6 minutes. Everybody running out of bullets, child. But he ended up getting to the helicopter, pulling the dead man out. So everybody that was on the helicopter, even the injured and all the other stuff, he was able to get them off to safety. That's how he got the medal. So everybody there, and he praying and, having flashes of Christopher and all this other stuff. And he is just like, oh my God, basically praying and stuff because like I said, everybody ran out of bullets. The enemy was like closing in. They had like a whole semi-automatic, like they had like, oh child, I don't even know how they survived. But then backup came, took out the enemy, and then they rescued the people and stuff like that. So then they in the hospital. He all excited, well, not excited, because he feeling like he just lived a nightmare basically. So, but he's happy that, he's still alive. He can go back home. Then what happened? Because let me see, make sure we didn't go back to, okay. So then we are still in the past, but 3 months after the helicopter went down. And it's like Eddie's family, his wife's family, Christopher, they all there. And his dad is basically, excited and, praising him for getting the medal. He's reading the letter that came with the medal and stuff like that. Eddie is still like, I wasn't a hero. I just did what I did. The mama getting on Eddie because he done gave the baby the wrong type of beverage. He go in the house. He's talking to the wife. She like, well, let's go on a trip to Cali. He was like, well, that's not the right time. We got a house full of people who came out here to see us. Like, why would we go to California and stuff like that? She like, well, we can get away. He barked at her. So I'm like, he had PTSD and stuff, child. So he goes storming off. She start crying. Then we back to the well. So it was kind of bouncing all over the place. That's why I'm like, what happened? I'm trying to make sure I got it all. So then we back to the well. Because Eddie was unconscious a little bit when he fell from, how many feet was he already up? I want to say 20 or 30. So he fell when he cut the rope. He fell and then he lost consciousness. So then he woke up, and then he started hearing Aiden calling for his mommy. So then he went to go get Aiden. And while up top, I believe that's when they were like, we gonna send Chimney down the hole to see what's going on, and then bring Aiden up, bring Eddie up, and so forth. So Eddie woke up, like I said, he goes to Aiden, and then as soon as he goes to Aiden, Chimney comes down, and he was just like, look, man, I'm glad you still, alive or whatever like that. He takes Aiden up. He was like, look, we're going to send another rope down here for you. Don't cut this one, okay? So he was like, all right. Chimney takes Aiden back up. He was like, oh, he down there, send for another line down there or whatever. So as soon as he goes up, child, the freaking lightning comes, hit the drill. Everything falls over. It was a fire. The dirt then pushed back in the hole and stuff. Buck over there, Eddie, he digging a hole. I said, oh my God, why? Just why? So he's trying to get Eddie, but he can't like dig back down because that was 50 feet. He can't dig back down 50 feet, child. So they all freaking out. Eddie still down there in the dang on hole. They trying to figure out how to get him out without pushing the dirt back down there and basically having like 30 feet of dirt on top of Eddie. So they trying to figure that out. They like, well, how we gonna do this? Eddie knocked out again. Then he finally wakes up, and he grabs the radio. He trying to call out. Of course, he was too far down, so they couldn't hear him. He like, I'm still alive. That's what we saw in the beginning when he was saying he was still alive. Then we went back to El Paso 2017, and his mom and dad are basically telling him that he needs to give them Christopher because he's too busy. He's working 3 different jobs. He can't handle it. Christopher barely knows him. All this stuff. They basically wanted to take Christopher away from Eddie, but Eddie wasn't having it. He was like, I can do this, because at this point the wife had left him because he said he needed some more time. So she sent him a little letter, child. All that thing said was, I need more time too. I said, well, damn, you couldn't have wrote nothing else. Like, that's all the letter said. She basically bounced quickly. He was like, well, she went to go be with her sick mom and all this other stuff. But I'm like, she could have put that in a letter too. He go outside on the porch. She started talking to Christopher. They had like a little cute moment where they was bonding and all that other stuff. So that's what Eddie is seeing why he's knocked out. What happened? Okay, so then the water rising. Like I said, up top, they still trying to figure out what's going on, how they going to get him out. He still had the oxygen mask, but then by then the oxygen mask was on red, so it was nothing else in there. He just dropped that. He held his breath and stuff, and then he keeps replaying with the man who they initially met in the beginning, who had the maps and all the other stuff, and he was telling them like where stuff is in that area. So he's replaying that. He sees like a little light, and he's trying to swim to that, and then all of a sudden he stopped swimming. He stopped breathing. I said, oh my God, they're going to kill Eddie off the goddamn show. No. So then, because then they started having like flashes of like him and the crew and him and Christopher. And I was just like, oh my God, like what is we doing here? And then it was a point where the wife was like, Christopher needs you, Eddie. And then Eddie was just like, boom. And then he started swimming real hard and all the other stuff. And he came out and on the other side in this lake. Then we don't see him for a minute. We see Cap, and then they got like all the crew around them and stuff like that. And they like, look, we're going to have infrared, this, we're going to do that, we're going to go over here. We're going to figure out where he at. We're going to dig him up and all this other stuff. And then we hear Eddie, he was like, you don't need to do all that, or whatever. And he basically about to collapse. He looked bad, but he was still alive. I was like, praise God, child, yes. So then Hen is over there. She like, let me check you out. He was like, yeah, because I got a hot date on Friday I can't miss. And then we see him at the show and tell telling the kids how he got his medal and all the other stuff. And then they were saying like, do you wear the medal? Like a little kid asked him, do you wear the medal and stuff? And he was like, no. And then he wears the St. Christopher medal. And the teacher was like, is that your good luck charm? And he was like, no, he is, talking about Christopher. And then it went off. I was just like, oh, yay, it's so so cute. But it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. At the end, I'm so sick of 911 getting my blood pressure up. First with Christopher about to drown, then with Eddie. I can't take it no more. But anyway, y'all, next week's episode looks good too. And apparently it's only like 3 more episodes left. I'm like, dang, it just came back on. But y'all let me know how y'all felt about this episode. If y'all like this video, go ahead, hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to my channel. And then also hit that notification bell to be notified when I drop new videos. All right, y'all. Until next time. Peace.